Alright, so today we're gonna look at Martin Luther King Jr., man. And you see my Google search, MLK Civil Rights Movement, 1957. That's the key date for me. So I'm gonna say, according to Google, Britannica.com, right, encyclopedia, Martin Luther King started his movement in 1957, right? And so, why I find that very interesting, it was a decade from that time to where I'm at now, and he died less than a year after a certain speech, right? And let's get a gist of what that speech was about. Little nugget is right here. I believe we ought to do all we can and seek to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps, Martin Luther King said in a 1976 interview, less than a year before his assassination. But it is cruel. It's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And many Negroes by the thousands and millions have been left bootless as a result of these many years of oppression. So less than a year when Martin Luther King started talking like that, because he was saying I have a dream, right? And the world put him on a pedestal. 1967, he say, man, I've had to come to the realization of certain things and certain truths, right? And so you can see kind of where his mindset is going. Not too long after that, we found that man assassinated. And I always found it interesting that the people that was around him wasn't assassinated. No, instead they was lifted up into high ranks of society and government and live a legacy of like this civil rights leader. But the actual civil rights leader died. And they went on talking about bootstraps, they went on to lick boots. And I find that very interesting. So let's look at that speech, man. This is that speech that he came with and then died less than a year after. Was assassinated, murdered, killed less than a year after, right? And I think the biggest issue, sidebar, like if Martin Luther King would have came around to understanding that him and Malcolm X was walking down the same road, I don't know what that would have meant for us today. And they couldn't have that, right? But let's get in this speech, bro. The funny thing is they got it anyway. Ain't no changing the truth. The Most High is true, and He gonna keep us, bro. So either it's gonna come through the easy way or the hard way. It's coming. But let go. Our government was giving away millions of acres of land. Not only did they give the land, they built land grants, colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided country agents to further their expenses in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order to merchandise their farms. Not only that, today these people are receiving millions of dollars not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he needs to lift himself up by his own bootstraps. This is what we are faced with. This is the reality. Now when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check. Spoken by Dr. Martin Luther King himself. And you can see it here. He was assassinated before he reached our country's capital. I find that very interesting and something that we should all take with us, bro. That's it. Love y'all. Shalom.